Hello student, I welcome you all to the online classes of Triveni Memorial Senior Secondary School. Today we are going to start your new physics chapter. Name of your chapter is Some Natural Phenomena. Okay, it is chapter number 15 in your NCERT book. So let us start this chapter. In this chapter we will be talking about charges, electricity and earthquake. Okay, so in class 7 you read about wind, storm and cyclones, right? Now you will be reading about earthquake and lightning, thunderstorm, all these natural phenomena. Okay, you learned that cyclone can cause lot of damage to human life and property. You also have learned about we can protect ourselves from these destructive phenomena to some extent. In this chapter we shall discuss about two natural phenomena which are destructive in nature. Okay, these are lightning and earthquakes. Okay. We shall also discuss what steps can we take to minimize the destruction caused by these natural phenomena. Okay, so let us discuss this lightning first. Okay, you might have seen sparks on electric pole when wires become loose. We know that it is due to short circuiting, right? Now this phenomena is quite common when wind is blowing and shaking the wires. You might also have seen the sparks when plug is loose in the socket. We have discussed all this in our class 7th and to some extent in class 8th also we have discussed everything in the electricity chapter. Okay, lightning is also electric spark but on huge scale. Lightning is nothing but the same phenomena but on a huge scale, plus in addition to that lightning is natural. Okay, in ancient time people did not understand the cause of these sparks. They were therefore afraid of lightning and they thought it was the wrath of God when the God was visiting them. Okay, in the ancient time people used to think that this is because of the anger of the God, but now we know that science is behind all those phenomena. Okay, now of course we understand that lightning is caused by accumulation of charges in the cloud. We know now clouds acquire charges and by the rubbing of that charges lightning occur. Okay, we need not to be afraid of lightning but we have to take proper precautions, okay, to protect ourselves. Now let us see the history behind this lightning, the sparks that Greek knew about. Okay, the ancient Greek knew as early as 600 BC ago that when amber is kind of resin, okay, was rubbed with the fur, it attracted light object such as hair towards itself. Okay, you might have seen that when you take woolen or the polyester cloth, your hair stand on the end. Okay, it causes charges on your hair. If you take off this cloth in the dark and you see a spark and hear crackling sound, you must have observed such kind of things during winter season. Okay, in 1752 Benjamin Franklin, we call him as father of this area, this the charges and electricity, everything. He is known as father of this particular section of physics. An American scientist showed that lightning and the spark from your clothes are essentially same kind of phenomena, but you know that spark is on small scale and lightning occurs on large and huge scale. However, realization of this phenomena took place after 2000 years. Okay, now I wonder why this took many years to realize the similarities, because of lack of technology in that time. Okay, scientists' discoveries are result of hard work of many people first of all, plus it can sometimes take time. Okay, sometimes it can take time as long as 2000 years also. Okay, because of lack of technology also. We shall now study some property of electric charge. In this chapter we are going to study about property of electric charge and how they behave, okay, in different circumstances. Let us perform some activities to understand nature of electric charge first of all, but recall first what you might have played as a game. When you rub the plastic scale on your dry hair, you know that your hair pull off, your hair get attracted towards that scale. Now what is this phenomena? Let us do one activity to know charging by rubbing. So first way of charge anything is rubbing. In this section we are going to learn about how we can create the charge. So first way of creating the charge is by rubbing. Okay, so for that let us study this activity 15.1, take a used ball pen refill and rub it vigorously with a piece of polythene. You have to take one polythene and one refill of ball pen. Okay, bring it close to the small piece of paper. Then take care not to touch the rubbed end of the refill. You have to rub the end of the refill. Okay, then with your hand and with a metallic object. Repeat this activity with small piece of dry leaf also. Okay, husk and mustard seed. Record your observation. You have to record whether that rubbed piece of ball pen refill is attracting all those things or it is not attracting all those things. Okay, so and you have to fill this table according to your result, according to your observations. Okay. Now, when the plastic refill is rubbed with a polythene, it acquires some small electric charge. When you are rubbing plastic refill with a polythene, it will acquire some charge. Okay, as we have discussed, when we rub things, the things will acquire charge. Okay, what is charge? Charge is nothing but movement of electron. By now, you all are aware of the term electrons. So, charge is acquired when the atom lose electron or gain electron, because you know that proton never moves out of the nucleus, only electron moves, and we have to make those electrons move. Okay, one way by which we can make electrons move is rubbing. So, rubbing is the first way by which we can make those electrons move, and by rubbing electrons will move and ultimately charge will be acquired. It can be positive charge or it can be negative charge. Okay, it depends upon the nature of the material. Similarly, when plastic comb is rubbed with a dry hair, it acquires small charge. Okay, these objects are called charged object. When any object lose or gain electron, it will acquire the charge positive charge. When any object lose electron, it will gain positive charge. When any object gain electron, it will acquire negative charge. Okay. In the process of charging the refill and the plastic comb, polythene and hair are also get charge. As you know, rubbing will cause charge to both of the object. Not just the object which you are rubbing, but also the object through which you are rubbing. Okay, when you are rubbing your hands, both hands will acquire charge. Okay, now let us try to charge some object that you are familiar with. Collect some object and material listed in table 15.1. Try to charge each one by rubbing with material mentioned in table. Record your finding. You can add items according to you also. Okay, so the items which are mentioned here are refill, then you have to rub it with polythene, woolen cloth, balloon, polythene, woolen cloth, dry hair, eraser and wool, then steel spoon and polythene, woolen cloth. Okay, just do this activity, record this, record all this in your table, then we will discuss about this thing. Okay. Next is type of charges and their interaction. First interaction, as we have discussed, is rubbing. So, let us see if any other interaction is also there. We will select some object from the table 15.1 for our next activity, that is your activity number 15.3. Inflate two balloons, hang them in this way such that they will not touch each other, like in this way. Okay. Then rub both of the balloon with a woolen cloth and release them. What do you observe? When you rub this balloon, first of all you have to inflate them, then you have to rub them with a woolen cloth. Now let us see what happened. Now let us repeat this activity with a used ball pen refill. Rub one ball pen refill with a polythene, place it carefully in a glass tumbler like this. Okay. In a glass tumbler, using a tumbler as a stand, rub the other refill also with a polythene, bring it close to the charged refill. Be careful not to touch the charge end with your hand, otherwise that thing will lose the charge, because you are also good conductor of electricity. If you touch the charge end with your hand, it will lose its charge. Okay, so be careful with that thing. Is there any effect on the refill in the tumbler? Do the two attract each other or repel each other? You have to observe whether these two things are attracting or repelling each other. In this activity, we have brought close together the charged objects that were made of same material. we have brought together the material which are made up of same thing, so they must be having same kind of charge. That's why they will repel each other. So we can establish that same charge repel each other and opposite charge attract each other, and we know this property since our class 6 from the magnet chapter. You know that opposite poles of magnet attract each other and same poles of magnet repel each other, right? Same thing happens in case of charge also. Same charge repel each other and opposite charge attract each other. Okay, that's how electricity work. Okay. What happen if two charge objects made up of different material are both close to each other? Let us see with the help of this second activity. Rub the refill and place it gently in the glass tumbler as before. Bring an inflated charge balloon near the refill and observe what will happen now. You will see these two things will attract each other. This time attraction is happening because these two things are made up of two different kind of materials. Now one is having positive charge, other one having negative charge. That's why they will attract each other. Okay. Let's summarize the observation. Charge balloon repel charge balloon because same charge is there. Charge refill repel charge refill, again same charge is there, but in the third case charge balloon attract to the charge refill because now we are using two different kind of materials, and two different kind of materials must be having two different kind of charge. That's why they are attracting each other. Does it indicate that charge on the balloon is of different kind from the charge of the refill? Yes, of course, two different kind of charges are there. That's why they are attracting each other. Can we say that there are two different kind of charges? Yes, we have established this. Can we also say that charges of same kind repel and charges of different kind attract each other? Yes. In the convection, it is convection to call that charge acquired by glass rod when it is rubbed with the silk is positive. Okay, very important part. That's why it is written in the bold that letters that charge acquired by glass rod when it is rubbed with the silk is positive. When you rub a glass rod with the silk, it will lose the electron and it will gain positive charge. Okay. Now the other kind of charge is said to be negative. So silk will acquire negative charge, glass rod will acquire positive charge. Okay, because one thing is losing electron, another thing is gaining electron when you rub them. Okay, so in this case glass rod will acquire positive, so silk will acquire negative charge. It is observed that when the charged glass rod is brought near charged plastic straw rubbed with a polythene, there is an attraction between these two. So we can say that again two charges are involving, that's why attraction is there. Okay. What do you think would be the kind of charge on the plastic straw? You guess that plastic straw would carry negative charge, is correct. Okay. This time plastic straw is having negative charge. Okay. In the previous activity glass rod is having positive charge. In this activity your plastic straw is having negative charge. Okay, that means it is gaining electrons. Okay, electric charges generated by rubbing is static. Static means which do not move. Okay, they do not move by themselves. We need them to move. We make them to move. That's how they move. Otherwise, they are static. They are not moving on their own. We need to apply force. And what is the force in this case? It is rubbing. Okay. When charge move, they constitute an electric current. I hope now you can connect these two things. We have studied this part in our electric current chapter also, right? Electric current is nothing but movement of electrons, and here also charge is acquired by movement of electrons. So these two things are connected. Okay, you have been reading about electric current since class 6. Okay, the current in an electric circuit which make bulb glow, the current that makes wires hot is nothing but motion of charges. And which charge? I hope you remember electrons. Only electrons are moving part of any atom. Okay, we make that electron move so that charge can move, so that electricity can happen. Okay, that potential difference, I hope you remember potential difference thing, that is nothing but creation of charge. The battery in your circuit, the source of electricity, do this thing, it creates the charge and that charge move and electricity occurs. Okay, now transfer of charge, for that let us study the activity 15.4. Take an empty jam bottle, take piece of cardboard slightly bigger in size than the mouth of the bottle, okay, pierce a hole in it so that metal paper clip could be inserted, okay, like this kind of structure. Okay, open out paper clip as shown in figure 15.4. Cut two strips of aluminium foil about 4 cm by 1 cm each. Hang them on a paper clip as shown in the diagram. Insert paper clip in the cardboard lid so that it is perpendicular to it. Charge the refill and touch it. Okay, with the end of paper clip, you have to charge the tip with a paper clip. Okay, now observe what happens. Is there any effect on the coil in the foil strips? Do they repel each other or attract each other? Touch now other charge bodies with the end of the paper clip. Do foil strip behave in the same way in all the cases? Can this apparatus be used to detect whether the body is charged or not? Yes, this apparatus can be used to detect whether the body is having positive charge or whether the body is having negative charge, or this is simpler version of this device, so it will tell you whether the body is charged or not. If the paper clip will move, that then you can say that that particular body is charged. Okay, now can you explain why foil strip repel each other? Of course, because they are made up of same material, both are made up of aluminium, that's why they will repel each other. Okay, the aluminium foil strip receive the same charge from the charge refill through the paper clip. Paper clip and the aluminium foil is made up of same kind of charge, that's why they are repelling. We can establish now that the charges are same. Okay, remember that metals are good conductor of electricity. Aluminium is a metal and it is good conductor of electricity again. Okay, and yeah, paper clip again made up of stainless steel or iron, so made up of metal only, and metals conduct electricity. The strip carrying similar charge repel each other and they become wide open. The strip will be wide open because they are made up of same kind of material. Such a device can be used to test whether the object is carrying charge or not. This device is known as electroscope. This is the simplest version of electroscope. This device you can make in your home also. This is the simplest version of electroscope. Much higher variety, much technological that electroscopes are also available, which can tell whether the thing is having positive charge and negative charge also. Okay. Thus, we find that electric charge can be transferred from one charge body to another charge body. Okay. Through the metal conductor. We need a metal conductor because metal can conduct electricity. So, we need this metal conductor which can transfer charge from one body to another body. We need this phenomena for our next topic. So, you must be aware of this topic, that metal conductor can conduct the charge from one body to another body. Okay. Touch the end of the paper clip gently with a hand and you will find the change in foil strip. Now, if you touch them with your hand, you will find change in foil strip. They come back to their original state. Repeat charging of foil strip and touch the paper clip. Every time you will find that foil strip collapse as soon as you touch the paper clip, because you also are good conductor of electricity, right? So, why does it happen? The reason is that foil strip lose charge on earth through your body. When you touch them, you will gain that charge and you transfer that charge to the earth. Okay, that's why they will lose the charge. That is nothing but earthing. Okay, this process is nothing but earthing. In your home appliances also one earthing wiring is there which will transfer the extra charge to the earth. Okay, why? Okay, yeah. through your body, we say that foil strips are discharged, okay, and the whole process is earthing. The process of transferring of charge from the charge object to the earth is known as earthing. Earthing is also provided in your building to protect us from electric shock due to leakage of electric current, okay. Earthing is always provided in your home circuit, in any building circuit, so that to prevent electric shock, okay, damage from the electric shock, so that the extra charge will be goes inside the earth. Next is, now let us come to the first phenomena of this chapter, that is lightning. We need all this base to understand what lightning is, okay. Now it is it possible to explain lightning in terms of charge produced by rubbing, okay. We should have this base, then only you will understand what lightning is. Now as you can see it from this diagram, okay, the two type of clouds are there. One upper clouds are charged positively and the lower one charged negatively, okay. Now let us see the phenomena of lightning. You learn in class 7 that during development of thunderstorm the air current move upward, we know that, while the water droplet will move downward, okay. Water droplet will be moving downward in the form of rain, and the clouds which are having current will move upward in this process, okay. This vigorous movement causes separation of charges. It is nothing but rubbing. It causes the rubbing, and rubbing will create the separation of the charges. So the upper cloud as shown in this diagram will acquire positive charge and the lower cloud will acquire negative charge due to rubbing, because they are rubbing each other, okay. Rubbing will cause separation of charges, okay. So now by a process not yet completely understood, okay, this process is under the research now also, because no scientist can properly tell how this thing happens, but we know this thing is happening, okay. So the positive charge collect near the upper edge of the cloud and the negative charge accumulate at the lower edge of the cloud. There is an accumulation of positive charge near the ground also, okay. When the magnitude of accumulated charge become very large, okay, the air which is normally poor conductor of electricity, we know that air is poor conductor of electricity. Now you can apply your logic. Air is like water, both are fluid, we cannot describe them as conductor and insulator. They are good conductor or bad conductor. Air which is otherwise poor conductor of electricity, it can conduct electricity under some circumstances. Here the circumstances are charges of the cloud. This leakage in the charges of this cloud will cause the air which is otherwise poor conductor of electricity, it can conduct electricity in such cases. We have discussed all this thing in our previous chapter, right. So now you can establish this link, okay. So air which is normally poor conductor of electricity is no longer able to resist the flow. Now because huge amount of charge is there, now this air cannot resist the flow, okay. Flow of the charge suppress the poor conductivity of the air. Now that air has to conduct these charges because amount of charge is huge, okay. Negative and the positive charges met. When negative and positive charge met, it produces strikes of bright light and sound, which is nothing but the lightning. When these two type of charges meet with each other, it will create a streak, okay, streak of light and sound. Both will produce at the same time. This process is called electric discharge, and the light which is producing by this phenomena is nothing but the lightning which you see during the thunderstorm, okay. The whole process is electric discharge. Why it is electric discharge? Because charges is loosed by these clouds. Now the process of electric discharge can occur between two or more clouds, okay. Maybe more than two clouds are also present, or between clouds and the earth also, because as we have discussed, the lower part of the clouds is having negative charge and the upper part of the earth is having positive charge. So this lightning can occur in the sky also, but it can also occur at the ground level also. Okay. Today we need not to get frightened by the lightning like ancient people did. Ancient people used to that hate or fear this lightning. Now we understand the basic phenomena. Okay, science is behind all this thing. We know that scientists are trying hard to improve our understanding of this phenomena. However, lightning strike could destroy life and property. We know that. It is therefore necessary to take measurement to protect ourselves. Okay, when there is that connection between the lower side of the clouds and the upper side of the ground, which is having positive charge, in Hindi we called it as bijli girna. Okay, it can damage several buildings, it can damage several properties also. Okay, so we need to take proper measurement to avoid the risk. Okay. Lightning safety. What safety should we take for that? During lightning and thunderstorm, no open place is safe, because open place is having more positive charge, so more lightning can strike on the open surface. So you should avoid open surface first of all. Hearing thunder is an alert to rush to the safer place. Okay, when you hear the thunder, it means you need to move towards the safer place. After hearing the last thunder, wait for some time before coming out of the safer place. You know why? Because lightning occur before the thunderstorm. Why such thing happen? You see the lightning before the thunderstorm, right? Sound of the thunderstorm comes to your ears much later than the actual lightning happen, because light travel much faster than sound. Sound will reach your ears. Both are taking place simultaneously. Okay, both processes occur together only, but you hear sound after the lightning, because light travel much faster as compared to sound. Okay. Now, how to find a safe place? A house or a building is a safe place. Okay, a house and the inside that room of your home is safe place. If you are traveling by car or a bus, you are safe inside when your windows and doors are closed. Okay, when you are traveling, you should close all the windows and doors. Okay, what to do and not to do during thunderstorm? When you are outside, open vehicle like motorbikes, tractor, construction machinery, open cars are not safe. Why they are not safe? They are made up of metals, and metal will attract that charge, right? Metal will attract that negative charge. Open field, tall trees, shelter in park, elevated place do not protect us from the lightning strokes. Again, because open place means more positive charge, that means more chances of lightning struck. Okay. Carrying an umbrella again is not at all a good idea, because umbrella is made up of metal. Okay, the main handle of the that umbrella is made up of metal. It is again not safe in case of thunderstorm. If you are in forest, take shelter under short trees. Do not take shelter under the long trees. What will happen? Long tree will attract more charge as compared to short tree. Okay. If no shelter is available and you are in open field, stay away from tall trees. Okay. Stay away from poles also, poles of electricity. Okay. And metal object, do not lie down on the ground. If you lie down on the ground, you are providing the more surface area of your body, that means more chance of electric shock is there. Instead, squat low on the ground. I hope you know the squat position. This is the squat position. This is the best position to avoid the lightning. Okay. What you are doing basically, you are just minimizing your body size so that that less body size is available for the striking, and striking need low body surface size, and it will strike on the body surface which is lying down. More surface is good for the lightning, so lightning will avoid the smaller surface. So squat is the best position to avoid the lightning. Place your hand on the knees with your head between your hands. This position will make you small. Okay, and lightning will that avoid small targets. Okay. It is nothing that lightning is having mind. Basically, lightning choose the area which is long, okay, large area. That is the science behind this. Now, when you are inside your home, lightning can strike the phone cord, electric wire and metal pipes. Okay, you know that lightning is electric discharge only. So, all these things will conduct this electricity. You should avoid using this thing during lightning. During a thunderstorm, contact with this should be avoided. It is safer to use mobile phone and cordless phone. Okay. However, it is not wise to call up a person who is receiving your phone through the wired phone. Okay, try to avoid calling person who is using wired phone also. Bathing should be avoided during thunderstorm to avoid contact with running water. Again, running water is a good conductor of electricity. Avoid contact with running water also. Electric appliances like computer, TV should be unplugged because it can conduct electricity. Electric light can remain on. They do not cause any harm. Okay. Now, next that part of this lightning is lightning conductors. Lightning conductor is a device which is used to protect your building from the effect of the lightning. I hope you have observed the long strand or long structure of metal which we use in our home. Generally, we place it on our terrace, right? It is a metallic rod taller than your building. It's always taller than your building. Okay, metallic rod taller than your building is installed at the wall of the building during the construction. During the construction, we place this metal rod on our terrace which is longer than your building itself. Once the end of the rod is kept out in the air and other is buried deep inside the ground. Okay, one end is in the air and other end is buried deep inside the ground. Okay, the rod provides easy route to transfer the electric charge to the ground. Okay, what will happen, because it is made up of metal, it will gain all that electric charge, electric discharge due to the lightning, and it will transfer that charge to the ground. It is nothing but the earthing which we have discussed in the previous section. I hope you remember the earthing process which we have discussed. It is nothing but the earthing. The metal rod is transferring that electric discharge from the lightning to the earth. Okay. The metal column used during construction, electrical wires and water pipes in the building also protect us to some extent. Okay. But do not touch them during thunderstorm. This is nothing but a metallic conductor, lightning conductor, okay, which we placed on the building. It protect us from the lightning. Students, we will discuss the second part of this chapter in our part 2 of this video. Thank you for now. Welcome back, student, to the online classes of Triveni Memorial Senior Secondary School. We were doing this chapter, some natural phenomena. In part 1 of this chapter, we discussed about lightning. In this part, we are going to discuss about the second natural phenomena, that is your earthquakes. Okay, so let us study it. You just learn about thunderstorm and lightning. In class 7, you learn about cyclones. These natural phenomena cause large destruction of human life and property, right? Fortunately, this phenomena can be predicted to some extent. We can predict these phenomena and we can avoid the damage to some extent. The weather department can warn us about thunderstorm developing in that particular area. If a thunderstorm occurs, there is always a possibility of lightning, so we can predict lightning also, and cyclones accompany them. So we can predict all these things and we can minimize the damage caused by them. Okay, but what will happen if we cannot predict some natural phenomena? It will cause the damage to large extent as compared to these phenomena, right? Because if we cannot predict, then damage will be higher. There is, however, one natural phenomena which we are not yet able to predict. There is one phenomena which we are not able to predict. Okay, it is earthquake. It can cause damage to human life and property to the huge scale because we do not how to predict this earthquake. Okay. Major earthquake occurred in India on 8th October 2005 in Uri and Tangar towns in North Kashmir. Before that, major earthquake occurred on 26th January 2001 in Bhuj district of Gujarat, and these two earthquakes were huge and they damaged the properties and human life to great extent. Okay, because we cannot predict earthquake. Okay, so let us study activity 15.5. Ask your parent about the huge damage of life and property caused by these two earthquakes, because you must be a small toddler at that time and you are not aware of this earthquakes also. Collect few pictures showing the damage caused by these two earthquakes, okay, from the newspaper and magazine. Prepare short report on suffering of people of earthquake also at that time. Now, what is this earthquake? What happened when it occurred? What can we do to minimize the effect? These are some of the questions which we shall discuss below. Okay, let us discuss these questions. First one is, what is an earthquake? An earthquake is a sudden shaking or a trembling of earth lasting for very short time. It is caused by disturbance of deep inside in the earth crust. Okay. Earthquakes occur all the time all over the earth. They are not even noticed. Okay, sometimes earthquake happen and we don't notice even. Okay, they are of much that small extent, so we do not just pay attention, we do not realize also. Major earthquakes are much less frequent. Okay, major earthquakes are much less frequent. They can cause immense damage to building, bridge, dams and people. They can be great loss to the life and the property. Earthquake can cause flood, landslides and tsunamis. Major tsunami occurred in the Indian Ocean on 26 December 2004 in coastal region of ocean. The life suffered huge loss. Okay. Now again outline map of the world. Locate eastern coast and Andaman and Nicobar Island in the India. Mark the countries around the Indian Ocean which would help to ocean which could have suffering that which have suffered this damage. Collect account of devastation caused by the tsunami in India from your parents. Again same thing. Okay, you have to make the report. Okay. Now what causes these earthquakes? For that you need to revise the that structure of your earth. Okay. So let us see what ancient people used to think. In ancient times, people do not know the true cause of earthquake. Their ideas were therefore expressed in the mythical stories based on the gods, etc. Okay, as one of the story told by your that grandma. Similar myths have prevalent in different part of the world. But now we know the cause of this earthquake. What causes this earthquake? For that we need to study the structure of earth. Now we know that tremors are caused. Tremors is nothing but the vibrations. The vibrations are caused by disturbance of deep down inside the uppermost layer of earth, which is known as crust. Okay. So we know that earth is made up of three layers: crust, mantle and core. Again core can be divided into inner core and your outer core. Okay. This is the basic structure of the earth crust. Okay. Outermost layer of earth is not in one piece. That's how continents are formed. If it is in one piece, then we cannot say that that earth is divided into continents. How continents are formed? Because upper layer is not in continuation. It is not in one piece. Oceans are there, then mountains are there, right? All these things are there. That's why your upper layer of the earth is not is a single piece. It is divided into several pieces. The 7 biggest pieces of this earth crust give rise to the continents which we know now. Okay, they are separated by mountains, they are separated by huge oceans. Okay, and trees also. It is fragmented. Each fragment of this that earth crust is known as plate. So what is the fragment of the earth? This is nothing but the this plate. These plates are in continuation motion, because we know that earth revolves around the sun, earth rotates around its own axis. We know this phenomena, right? So that's why these plates are in continuous motion all the time, right? When they brush past each other, sometimes this thing may happen. The plate which is behind the next plate, will brush the first plate. Sometimes this may happen. Maybe their motion is not that constant. Maybe one is having great motion, one is moving with a high speed and another one is moving with a low speed. Sometimes this thing may happen. so the next layer may brush over the first layer. Such thing happen in nature, okay. Or the plate goes, sometime the next plate can go inside the first plate also. Sometime this thing can also happen due to collision. Sometimes this plate can collide because they are having different kind of motion, okay. So these are the that movement which causes earthquake, either the collision or the brushing past of these two crusts over each other, of this plate over each other. Only this kind of movement will cause earthquake, and we cannot predict the movement of these plates. That's why we can never predict the earthquake, okay. It's one of the rarest natural phenomena which we cannot predict. So it is one of the most dangerous natural phenomena also, because of its unavailable of the any instrument which can predict the earthquake, okay. So these are the two movements. First one is colliding of one plate on the other, and second one is brushing past, okay. Movement like this, one plate will goes like this, another will move in opposite direction. These two kind of movement and some other movement, this movement of plates will cause the earthquake, okay. If scientists know so much about earthquake, can they predict whether, when and where the next one will strike? No. Although we know for sure what causes the earthquake, we know what causes the earthquake, but it is not yet possible to predict when and whether the next earthquake might occur, because we cannot predict the movement of the plates, as the movement is random. These plates can change their movement also. Because of the randomness of the movement of these plates, we cannot predict the earthquake, okay. I read somewhere that underground explosion could also cause the tremors. Yes, underground explosion could cause this tremors. Tremors, again I am stating, tremors is nothing but the vibration, okay. That also causes this earthquake, but in this case the earthquake is due to human interference, okay. Tremors of the earth can also be caused when volcano erupt, okay, or meteor hit the earth, or any underground nuclear explosion is there. All these are the causes of the earthquake. Again, first one is underground nuclear explosion, then your volcano eruption is the second cause, then there is this meteor hit. These are few of the causes of the earthquake, okay. You should know what causes this earthquake. However, most earthquakes are caused by movement of the plates, and these plates are known as tectonic plates. Since earthquakes are caused by movement of the plate, the boundary of the plates are known as weak zone, where these earthquakes are more likely to occur. When these two plates are brushing each other or they are colliding, so you can imagine the border of these plates are the area where most damage occur. It is so obvious, okay. So we can say that since the earthquake caused by the movement of the plates, so the boundary is the area which is known as weak zone. The boundary of these plates are known as weak zone, and the area above this weak zone is the area where this that damage occur to the most extent as compared to other area. So we also call them as seismic or fault zone. These weak zones are also known as seismic zones. Whenever you hear this term seismic, it means earthquake. It is related to earthquake, okay. Seism means movement of plates, and we can interchange this term with earthquake. Seismic word is always related to earthquake, okay. So these areas are known as seismic zones or fault zone or weak zone. Area which lie on the boundary of these tectonic plates where the most damage can occur. These areas are weak zone, seismic zone and fault zone. All are same thing. In India, area where most threatened are, or we can say that fault zone of India are Kashmir, Western and Central Himalayas, and whole northeast, whole of the northeast area, run of Kutch and Rajasthan, that Indo-Gangetic plain. Okay, all these areas are fault zone where most that earthquake can occur and most damage can occur in these areas. Okay, some area of the South India also fall in this danger zone, as you can see. Okay, the power of earthquake is expressed in the term of magnitude of the scale known as Richter scale. This is not Richter scale. You should pronounce it correctly. It is Richter scale. So Richter was the scientist who did much work in this area. That's why the scale which we use to measure this earthquake is Richter scale. It only measures the magnitude of the earthquake, whether the earthquake is of high extent or of low extent. That is measured by Richter scale. You can compare this scale with the normal scale which you use in your day-to-day life. Okay, it measures the length, and this Richter scale will measure the magnitude of the earthquake. Okay, really destructive earthquake have magnitude higher than 7. So Richter scale is made up of 10 scale. Okay, the earthquake which are having magnitude above 7 is of high extent of or high magnitude earthquake which will cause more damage, and the normal earthquake which are having that magnitude below 3, they do not cause much harm. Okay, the both Bhuj and Kashmir earthquake had magnitude greater than 7.5. Okay, Japan is also located on one of the fault zone, and sometime the earthquake which occur in Japan are of above 9 that Richter scale also. So you can imagine the damage caused by them. Now tremors produce wave on the surface of the earth. We know that the movement of the plate will cause tremors or the vibration that will produce the waves on the surface of the earth. These are known as seismic waves. The waves which is produced by the vibration are seismic waves. The waves are recorded by instrument known as seismograph. Seismograph will measure the seismic waves. You should know. Okay. Now the instrument is simply a vibrating rod or a pendulum which start vibrating when tremors occur. When tremors occur, the pendulum start vibrating and it will show that seismic waves are there. Okay. Pan is attached to the vibrating system and pan will record the seismic waves on the paper which moves around it, under it. By studying this wave, scientists can construct a complete map of earthquake. Okay, scientists can make the entire diagram of the earthquake, and scientists can also measure the main center from where this earthquake started, but still scientists cannot predict all these things. Okay, they can measure the extent to which this earthquake happened, they can measure the extent to which damage happened, but they can never predict the earthquake. Okay, so seismograph is a graph which is a graph of seismic waves. What is seismic waves? Seismic waves are the vibration by the tremors of the earthquake. So all this thing is this. Okay, like many other scale in the science, Richter scale is not linear. It is not linear scale. This means the earthquake of magnitude 6 does not have 1.5 time of the destructive energy of earthquake of magnitude 4. Okay, so it is not a linear scale. In the linear scale we can say that 2 is more than 1, 3 is more than 2, but it's not a linear scale. In fact, increase of 2 in the magnitude means 1000 times more destruction in case of 6 as compared to 4. Okay, yeah, for example, earthquake in the magnitude 6 has 1000 times more destructive power as if we compare them with the Richter scale 4. Now you can imagine. Okay, this is not a linear scale, and the magnitude and the difference between scale 4 and 6 and 4 scale is of 1000 power, not 2 power. Okay, now some more terms are also there related to this earthquake which you are seeing in this diagram. This is epicenter and this is focus. So what is the focus and the epicenter? Let us study that. Okay, focus is the part in the earth which is inside the earth. Keep this in your mind. Focus is always inside the earth and epicenter is always above the focus. Epicenter is always above the focus, and focus is the point where this earthquake started. Focus is the point on which this earthquake, this plate movement started, and the area or the land above that focus is epicenter. So if this if the focus is inside this land of Kashmir, so we can say that Kashmir is the epicenter, but focus is below the ground. Okay, below the ground, because the movement occurs below the ground only. Okay, now let us study what precautions or what protection can we take against earthquake. We know from earlier pages that earthquake cannot be predicted. We can also have seen that they can be highly destructive in nature also. It is therefore important for us to take necessary precaution to protect ourselves in time. People living in seismic zones where the most earthquake likely to be happen, they must take care before the arrival of the earthquake. Okay. First of all buildings in this zone should be designed in that way which can withstand the earthquake. First thing is to design the building in seismic zones in such a way that can withstand the vibrations. Okay, to build a strong base in seismic zones, okay, of your building. These zones should be designed such that they can withstand major tremors. Modern building technology, with the help of modern building technology, this is possible. Okay, some buildings are there which are made in such a way that even the strongest tremor, the tremor of 9 scale, cannot move that building. Okay, so this is possible nowadays. It is advisable to make the structure simple so that it is quake safe. Okay, simpler the that design of the building, more it can withstand the earthquake. Okay, so first of all consult qualified architect and constructive engineers. Okay, only engineer and qualified constructor can make such kind of structure. Second is, in highly seismic area the use of mud and timber is better than heavy construction. Okay, it is better to use mud and timber than to use heavy construction. If you are using heavy construction for building your that building, what will happen? The tremors will break down that building and it will cause much harm. So it is better to use timber and mud. Okay, keep roof as light as possible. Keep your roof as light as possible. Otherwise, when this destruction happen, it can damage other property also when it falls off. In case of structure fall, the damage will be heavy if your roof is heavy in that area, in the seismic zones. Okay, it is better if the cupboard and the shelves are fixed to the wall. Okay, always fix your shelf and all the cupboards to the wall. I am talking about the seismic zone areas. Okay, so that they will not fall easily. Be careful where you hang wall clock, photo frame, water heater, etc., so that event of earthquake they will not fall on people. Okay, since some building may catch fire due to earthquake, it is necessary for all the buildings, especially the tall buildings, to have fighting extinguishers. Okay, in that building itself. The Central Building Research Institute Roorkee has developed know how to make quake proof house. Okay, in the event that an earthquake does strike, take the following protection steps. Okay, these are the steps which you should follow when earthquake is happening at the present time. So first of all, take shelter under the table to stay there till shaking stop. Okay, you should take shelter under the table, it will protect you. Stay away from the tall and heavy object, otherwise they can fall on you because of the earthquake. Third is, if you are in a bed, do not get up, protect your head with a pillow. Pillow will protect your head. Okay. Now if you are outside your home, find a clear spot away from the building. Now this time you can take shelter in the open ground, exactly opposite to the lightning. In case of earthquake, always take shelter in the open ground. You will be more safer in that case. Okay. If you are in a car or a bus, do not come out. Okay. Ask your driver to drive slowly to the cleared spot. Okay. Driving faster will cause harm. Do not come out till the tremors stop. Now, so that's all for the chapter. Let us do NCERT part of this chapter. First one is, which of the following cannot be charged easily by the friction? Plastic scale, copper rod, inflated balloon and woolen cloth. So answer will be copper rod. Okay, because copper rod is already good in conductivity, so it cannot be charged by the friction. Okay, friction can only charge the things which are not good in that conduction. Next is, when a glass rod is rubbed with a piece of silk cloth, the rod will become positive charge while the cloth has negative charge, which we have discussed in the previous part. Okay, now true and false. Like charge attract each other. It is false. Like charge repel each other. Charged glass rod attract a charged plastic straw. It is true, because they are having different type of charges. Lightning conductor cannot protect your building. False. Lightning conductor can protect your building. Earthquake can be predicted. No, earthquake cannot be predicted. Okay, false. Sometimes cracking sound is heard while taking off sweater during the winters. It is due to charging, due to rubbing. Okay. Explain why charged body loses its charge if we touch it with our hands. Because we are good conductor of electricity and we transfer that charge to the earth. That's why this thing happened. Okay. Name the scale on which destructive energy of earthquake is measured. Richter scale. An earthquake measured 3 on this scale. Would it be recorded by seismograph? Is it likely to cause much damage? No. That earthquake which measure 3 on this scale, it means it is of low intensity. It will not cause much harm. Okay. Though seismograph can measure the seismic waves. Okay. But seismograph measure the seismic waves more efficiently if the earthquake measurement is of above 7 in the Richter scale. Okay. Suggest 3 measures to protect ourselves from the lightning. You can refer to the previous part for this answer. Explain why charged balloon is repelled by another charged balloon, because they are having same charge. Whereas uncharged balloon is attracted by charged balloon, because now they are having different kind of charge, or one is having no charge and other one is having charge. That's why they will attract. Okay. Describe the help of diagram and instrument which can be used to detect the charged body. Electroscope. For that also you can refer to the previous part of the video. Okay. List 3 states in India where earthquakes are more likely to strike. Bhuj you can write, entire northeast area you can write, and then you can add Jammu Kashmir. All these are seismic zones. Okay. Suppose you are outside your home and earthquake strike. What precaution would you take to protect yourself? Again refer to the previous part of the video. The weather department has predicted that thunderstorm is likely to occur in the certain day. Suppose you have to go out on that day. Would you carry umbrella? No, because umbrella is made up of metal and it will cause harm, as we have discussed. Okay. So students, this chapter is over. We will meet in our next video. Thank you.